Hello. This is the Get to Know My Taste tag by My Name is Marinez. Question 1. How do you rate books? I have 2 answers for this. When I'm rating books on Storygraph for myself, I will use up to quarter stars, which my partner thinks is just unacceptable. That's how I like to do it. And the truth is that I'll usually go in and rate the book immediately right after I read it. But as time goes on, I'll usually kind of change my mind about the little quarters. And sometimes I've gone back and changed like up to a full star rating actually. So after I rated initially off of my first impression, then a couple months later, I'll go back into my Storygraph and make sure that that's actually how I feel and usually adjust things a little bit. But as far as for my channel, because otherwise I would be so stressed about making any of my star ratings official, I'm just using the basic 1 through 5 system. 5-star for me, it has to be perfect. For me to rate something 5 stars, there's basically nothing that I can think of to change to make the story better. And it also has to kind of have that 5-star feel. 4 stars means it's a good book. I enjoyed it, but either it just didn't have the 5-star feeling, or there's some sort of concepts or parts of it that I have some critique on, or that I think could have been developed better. A 4-star book can also be kind of a 3-star book where I have a lot of feedback to give, but I still just love it and really enjoyed the reading experience. 3-star for me is fine with positive connotations. Usually there's a lot about the book that I enjoy and maybe a lot about the book that I didn't enjoy, but overall was a positive reading experience. 2-star means it was a bad book and I didn't like it. Either my 2 stars are books that I kind of was bored by or were really forgetful, but they can also be a book where I had a positive reading experience, but in my heart of hearts, I know it was a bad book. 1 star, I have only rated like 1 or 2 books so far 1 star. I feel like a 1 star for me would have to be, the book would have had to be incapable of entertaining me for it to be 1 star, or filled with content that I feel is abhorrent in some way or unethical in some way, really. Question 2. How do you approach reading books? What's your review style? I would say that my style is a lot more casual. I'm definitely at this point more focused on sharing like my personal opinion and my personal journey with a book rather than trying to kind of quantify it in an objective kind of way. I feel like I'm really analytical when I read books, but then by the time I like sit down and want to share thoughts, I'm like, nobody cares about this. This is stupid. I basically like wanted to make this channel as a way to get a lot of my thoughts and feelings about the things that I'm reading out into the world, because a lot of people in my circle aren't reading the exact same books as me, or if they are, I hear like it's not that deep Victoria all the time. So I would say my style I'm wanting to develop more is kind of just chatting like with a friend about books that we like. Question 3. What is the book that made you a reader? I've been reading my entire life. My parents were reading us books when we were in the womb, so I don't have an answer to this one. There were definitely some like childhood series that I was really emphatic about. Emphatic? Is that a word? I grabbed a couple books off my bookshelf just to see kind of like what's stuck around with me, like from my childhood reading, and what I apparently felt important enough to either keep the books or go buy box sets of. I don't have any of my Junie B. Jones books. I think my sister has all of those, but those were definitely a big part of my childhood. The Tale of Despero, this was one that was read to us in school. I didn't even notice this. Look, I bought this so long ago, or My parents bought this so long ago. Soon to be a major motion picture. Did you guys ever watch the movie? It was horrible. I remember being so disappointed when I was a little kid. I took it really personally when movies would change aspects about the book, which is something I understand a lot more now. I also was really into the Chronicles of Narnia books. I have the first one here, The Magician's Nephew, which I had never known that, you weren't supposed to read it particularly in this order. This is a prequel. Harry Potter, obviously. Harry Potter is one of the first books that I remember my parents reading, and one of my early memories was my parents reading book 2 to my brother. This is a sidebar. It was the end of book 2. The scene, kind of in the aftermath of everything at the end, where Dobby and Lucius and Dumbledore are all there, and Harry stuffs the diary in... I have to see how old I was. Harry stuffs the diary into the sock to give to Dobby, and I didn't know what was going on. I was 3 years old or something, and I thought they meant diarrhea. What is going on in this book? This is not appropriate for children. I have Percy Jackson here too, one of my favorite childhood series. Have you guys ever noticed that they changed the covers on these? The covers and the spines on these? They've redesigned 8 times. Rick Riordan just keeps trying to get good art, keeps trying to get good movies, keeps failing. Poor guy. And then the series of unfortunate events. I guess this was one of my first forays out of fantasy series into something else. Still one of my favorite series. Question 4. Do you have a genre niche? Are there certain genres you gravitate toward, or do you read widely across genres? I would say my genre niche, as in my favorite genre, and the one that I feel like I kind of get the most out of, is definitely lit fic. But just stats wise, I do tend to read a lot of fantasy and a lot of sci-fi. My favorite kind of pocket is the lit fic, horror, magical realism type of thing. I read outside of my preferred genres as much as I can because I want to kind of branch myself out. I also don't want to miss out on everything. I definitely get book FOMO, which is why I end up reading so much fantasy, is because it's what everybody's talking about. Question 5. Do you generally prefer character-driven or plot-driven stories? I'm definitely more of a character-driven person. I could definitely read a book that had 0 plot or a terrible plot with amazing characters. I could not do the vice versa. I could not read a book that had horrible characters or just really undeveloped characters and an amazing plot. I always say my favorite books are books where nothing happens. It's really hard to say sometimes though. When I rate my books on Storygraph, it always asks me, was this more character driven or plot driven? And the answer is always a mix. Question 6. What's a book you love so much that you don't care if others don't like it? What's that one book you love enough for everyone? I feel like my answer is A Touch of Jen. I am obsessed with this book, and I think about it. I think about this book every single day. It is one of those ones that I think probably most people would not enjoy it, but that's okay with me. I love it enough for everyone. Question 7. What's a book you love so much that if someone doesn't like it, you know your reading tastes don't align? The book or books where a difference of opinion is a strong indicator of different reading preferences. My answer for this is Worm, which is not a book. Worm is a web serial. My friend William does a weekly Worm review, a chapter by chapter live stream. It's interesting because Worm is a sci-fi fantasy. It's more sci-fi superhero type of story, which is not generally my cup of tea or my niche. But the thing that makes it such a strong indicator of reading preferences are the characters and the character work and the character arcs and stories. The kind of mindset and frame of reference that the story has about people and about humanity and about mental illness, those are things that ring so true for me and for my reading preferences, that I think if somebody didn't appreciate that portion of the story, then we just aren't really aligned. Question 8. What is in your trash pocket? What books, tropes, or themes that you know are bad, but you love them anyway? I definitely have an example for this one. My Cruel Prince special edition here that I just got for my birthday. Jude and Carden. The Cruel Prince is like a representation of my trash pocket. My name is Marina says a trash pocket. It's like a guilty pleasure, but it's not guilty. It's in your trash pocket, you know? And the Cruel Prince is definitely in my trash pocket. I love the enemies and or lovers dynamic between Jude and Carden. I just love like problematic characters and problematic relationship dynamics. It's like junk food to me. Question 9. Do you have any deal breakers in books? Something that, if present, immediately turned you off from a book. Mates. I hate mates. I think it's weird. I think it's gross. It demonstrates something about the author that differentiates them so much from me that I just like can't even enjoy the book. The other thing is when authors use the words male and female, which is like really, really big in fantasy because they have to harp on the fact they're not men and women. They're male fae and female fae. There should just be a specific word that they use in their society. I don't know. It just, to me, mates, males and females, it's giving weird vibes. Question 10. What's a strong opinion you have about a book released within the last year? Whether it's overrated, underrated, or just a take you need to share. I feel like I have not read very many books that were published in the last year. I skimmed through my story graph and Annie Bot was in there. I guess this is the opposite of a strong opinion. This is a lukewarm take. I've really cooled off on Annie Bot since I read it. When I read it, I really wanted to like it, and there were lots of aspects of it that I really did like, but the pacing was so weird. In my opinion, there were so many like dropped threads or kind of unexplored realms that definitely should have been explored more. The ending was not good. I think that even a lot of people who liked the book and rated it pretty highly agreed that the ending was a little meh. Question 11. What do you look for in writing? What makes a book stand out to you? Is it prose style, themes, voice structure, or something else? I think the biggest thing for me is definitely themes and character work. And what I want to see really is every other aspect of the book contributing to the themes and to the messaging. The style of prose and the characters and the structure. I want all these things to lend themselves more to the themes. So I guess that's really what I'm looking for, is a type of cohesion and thoughtfulness. I'm specifically interested in like themes about the human experience and intersectionality, like gender, race, mental health, ethnicity, family backgrounds, all that kind of thing. I love family dynamics, interesting family dynamics. Question 12. How do you decide what to read next? Do you plan ahead, mood read, or follow external factors? I follow a lot of external factors because right now I am reading mostly out of Libby. So I kind of gather all of the books that I'm generally interested in, and then I'll place things on hold preemptively, with the idea that I'm kind of staggering back and forth between different genres and like different types of writing. I kind of like to stagger my reading in that way so that I can absorb my previous book without it kind of running into the next one. But I'm definitely like all in all a mood reader. So I usually have several books going at once so that I can swap back and forth so that I'm able to read at any point regardless of what my mood is at the time. I'm skipping question 13. I don't have a good answer. Question 14. If you could make any book go viral right now, what would it be? A book you think deserves more attention and why? This is hard because I feel like I only read books that are viral, like that are popular right now. I'm gonna say Monstrilio, which I have not talked about yet, but I just read this recently. I don't know, I think so many people would appreciate this book and that it's so unique and interesting and strange and emotional, and I just haven't been able to get it out of my mind. I also just want more like non-series, non-romantasy, non-romance. Question 15. Who are some booktubers with reading tastes similar to yours? I don't know how similar their reading tastes are, but I trust their taste with my life. My Name is Marinez is amazing. Plant-Based Bride is probably my top, and I haven't watched a lot of their videos yet, but Frankie's Shelf seems to have really similar taste to mine. I hope you learned a little bit about my taste. I feel like I was incoherent. Bye!